I think, first of all, it's in our human nature that we want to filter things. Well, I know what he said, but I'm going to do this. And it's very important for you to look at yourself and say, am I really doing? In other words, when I find a good mentor in an area, I look and say, am I seeing the world from the perspective that my mentor is seeing the world from that? And sometimes it's through books. Many of my mentors are in the books that I read. And where I say, you know what, if I was honest with my own performance, am I truly doing everything? If I said I want to make a six-figure income a month in a business, or if I want to do this, am I doing everything it takes? In other words, would I write myself a check for $100,000 a month with the current activity and the current thinking I'm doing? And it's amazing when I bring that to the team. I make a simpler example. I say, listen, last month, look at your performance from last month. Would you write yourself a $2,000 to $3,000 check for your performance last month? And if you wouldn't write yourself a $2,000 to $3,000 a month check for your last month performance, why would you expect your network marketing company to do so? In other words, so let's be honest with our own results, and if we're not doing the things that we know it takes, let's start today. And that's what the beautiful thing about decisions like, I'm going to start today leading my organization, leading my team the way that it needs to be led in order to produce the results I want, so I can close that gap between what I want in life and where I'm at. And too many people won't do that. They won't be honest. They'll come up with 1,000 excuses of why it's not working. But truly, especially in networking, one of the things I love about it is your pay raise becomes effective the moment you do.
I like what you're saying there, and if I was brand new, just to get this really clear as a message, and I've gotten a mentorship, I've gotten some advices, and I think I'm following them, but how could I be sure that I'm following the advices that I get?
When I get back with my mentor, I would be going through the things that I've done, the books that I've read, the things that I'm picking up from all the different steps that he or she recommended to me. I would walk through, I read this book, and here's my main takeaways that I got from that. I went and showed these plans, and here's some of the things that's happened. Here's the results I produced. Is there anything else that you see going on? I'll tell you, if you have a mentor that's produced results, and you do what they tell them, success, when opportunity and preparedness meet, success must happen.
So basically I can see it, if I'm in network marketing, I can see my pay raise. And then I know that I'm following the steps.
Scoreboard.
Yeah, the scoreboard.
You keep score. It's like, to me, there is, again, network marketing is one of the best economic indicators to tell you whether you're doing a good job and you're producing results, because people can vote with their feet. They don't enjoy the experience that they are getting in your business. They can vote with their feet. They can take themselves off auto ship. They can leave your business. They can stop attending meetings. So if you're measuring numbers, for example, if the numbers are going up, that means as an overall there's more people voting with their feet saying, yes, I'm enjoying this experience. If your numbers are going down, that's an indicator that people are voting with their feet. They're not enjoying that experience. And that's between you and your leadership team to create that right type of culture to produce those type of results that long-term work.
One of the tendencies I had before I really went down this asking for mentorship advice, especially when I was young, was to make and paint a picture that was rosier than it actually was when I was speaking to my mentors. And of course I learned that the best advice is to be brutally honest about where you are today. Any experiences or examples of that in your lives or thoughts?
I think back to Bob. First time I talked to him, I don't know what we talked about. I just know that he told me at one point, this conversation might only have been 30 seconds. It could have been maybe up to 35 minutes, because I only get this one thing from it. And he just turned to me and said, son, your biggest problem will be focus. So I guess that's just what we all tend to do in the beginning. We're painting the picture of how well everything is in our life, how well everything is going. But if you start recognizing those simple messages that you get, so if you get what you would say blown off by your mentor like that, that's something to pick up, and that got stuck with me. It got burn marked in me, and from that day on I was, am I having the right focus? Am I doing this focus? Do I have the focus here? Am I doing too many things? And that became kind of like a mantra into my life, is that I needed to focus, that I could achieve whatever I wanted to achieve. So yes.
Okay.
You know, I love that statement. In God we trust, all others must have data. Because if you know, it's almost every time you sit down with someone, how's it going? Oh man, we're fired up. We signed up 4 people over here and 8 people over here and 3 people. Man, things are rolling. And then you look at the numbers, you're like, okay, you went from 122 people at the seminar last month to 94 this month. I can't be fired up all over.
Yeah.
In other words, and I'm not doing that to beat them up, but it's real easy. You know, Art, you love soccer. You go to a World Cup match, and the first thing, if you're running late and you sit down and you look around, one of the first things you're going to ask somebody is, hey, what's the score? And so if people don't learn to keep score, then it's real easy to be, boy, we're fired up, as your business might, all the indicators may be going backwards. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen business owners in all kinds of businesses lose track of the score. You gotta, when you're brand new, the score might be how many times you're out there, you're working on the process. But after a period of time, you actually are looking for results. If you're in business, I assume you want results. And results in this business is producing numbers, producing volume, and producing security through the relationships. And if you're not keeping score, your chances of winning are reduced greatly.
And so that goes on both sides. On one side, you have to say it how it is, but that also includes not exaggerating, but also not exaggerating the problems.
That's
One
right.
other thing I noticed was that I would maybe say, things are going pretty bad, and then in my mind they were going so much worse that I would just dump and speak for 30 minutes on how bad it was, and the mentor would have to look at me and say, wait a minute.
And that's a character thing. Because, like, if you look at big corporations, we've got the Enrons. What did they do? They were just making the numbers look better than they really were. So what do you do different? Well, you do it at a smaller scale, but it's leading you to the position where you're eventually on a cliff, and you're going to fall off that cliff, and you're going to get hurt, and you're going to hurt other people in the process. So keeping a correct score is the most important for making the game fun. And that's the game of life, and that's the game in every area. Doesn't matter if it's soccer, or if it's basketball, or if it's network marketing. You gotta keep the score and be honest, because otherwise that is a lack of character. And your mentor is gonna see that in you, and if you have that problem, sit down with them and ask them, how can I develop the character so I can give the correct numbers, because that's step number 1.
And that applies to relationships and your health and your fitness and all over.
Well, I was teaching some of the leaders here the other day, and I told them, winners think like winners, even when they're losing. So many times, man, when things are going good, now there's momentum, boy, there's a lot of people that can have posture and be, humble and stuff. When everything's going great, boy, they look the part. They can play the part of a winner when they're winning, when they have that momentum. But man, when with the wind's out of the sails, things are knocked off the tracks, if you can still know you're going to win, if you can honestly look at the score and say, man, I'm down 21-7, and you can honestly look at that, that's the score, I'm down by 14 points, but I'm going to win. And if you look at all the greatest football players, the quarterbacks that come in, they're down by 7 points with 2 minutes to go, and the fans are biting their fingernails, but that quarterback, a Roger Staubach, a John Elway, they walk on to the field. They just confidently jog out on that field, and they know in their hearts that they're going to pull that out. And even when they don't, they just know that time ran out on them. They were going to win.
It happens also in football, soccer.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, American football.
So part of the lesson that I had was it was okay to ask for help. So if I'm minus $32,000 in debt, it's okay to say, I need help. You obviously have figured this out, and here's exactly where I'm at. And that's such a load off your shoulders when you can actually say that to somebody whom you respect and you believe can help you.
I think so many times we're so afraid of looking bad in front of our mentor that we just choose to do bad instead. And I would much rather reveal a weakness to my mentor so that I can work on improving that weakness and even turning it into a strength. If I was poor at finances, Well, not talking to your mentor about your finances doesn't improve your finances. And even though you think, well, he won't think bad of me, well, you're just doing bad. Mm-hmm. And so I'd much rather, well, I've got a problem with my finances, and get that issue fixed, because there are ideas that can help me and things that can be implemented, disciplines that can be applied that can solve that issue. So then we can move finances off the board and deal, as Orion was saying, that focus, and deal with the next issue to really move on in life. So in other words, if you want your mentor to truly help you if we use the analogy of life like a game of chess, then you've got to show him all the pieces. So he can give you the right moves, and then even teach you why he did that move.
Right. So Orion mentioned, if you follow the advice of your mentor and you don't see the results, then you have to start asking yourself, do I have the right mentor? Or what I heard also on that is, am I not revealing all my pieces? Right.
There you go.
Because if the mentor can't give you advice based on not seeing all the pieces, then maybe light has to reflect back upon you.